Welcome to an episode of Diary for Now and Gyal, where we will be discussing strategies for surviving a toxic work environment. Let's get into it. Now, whether you're dealing with a toxic boss, toxic coworker, or a negative company culture, navigating through a toxic workplace can be challenging. But fear not, because we are here to discuss some tips and insights to help you not only survive but thrive in these environments. Now, first and foremost, it is essential for you to recognize the signs of a toxic work environment before we can even do anything. So, these signs may include consistent negativity, lack of support from management, consistent gossiping, bullying, or a culture of blame game and finger pointing. Right? We all know what these look like. We all experience them, especially if you're in I don't want to say corporate culture, but corporate type job, the call centers. I think it's in every work environment, really and truly. Especially if there's a mixture of millennials, they're always the problem. Or, where you have different generation gaps. So, where you have millennials and Gen Zs, and there's always a problem. It wasn't the best work environment for me per se, but I had a work environment where it was mainly Gen Zs. Yeah, the my manager wasn't much older than me, and it was literally a good work environment. But then when we switched it, and when I think about all the other times when I was working and I have a millennial manager or I had millennial superiors, there was always an issue. The reasoning ability is different. The way how they see things, the logic and stuff is just a whole total different ball game. So that can be toxic as well. So once you can identify these toxic traits, you can start implementing strategies to protect your peace and your well-being, right? One of the most important things that I think you can do is to establish clear boundaries. So set limits on what behaviors you will and will not tolerate from others, first and foremost, right? And once you do set your boundaries, you have to communicate them assertively and consistently. So you can't do the okey pokey, you can't pick and choose who you enforce your boundaries with. You can't enforce it with the goose and not enforce it with the gander. You get what I'm saying? What goes for Tom, I forgot for Dick, and I forgot for Harry. Right? Yeah. And don't be afraid to enforce them when it's necessary. And you have to remember, say, you have a right to a safe and respectful work environment for yourself. That's a law. That's a right that we have. Another crucial strategy that we can do is to focus on the things that we control. Many of us, myself included, we tend to focus on the things that we can control, and we use them to be a bother or to let them depress us, or we take it, put it on our head, when really and truly we don't need to, because while we may not be able to change the toxic dynamics of our workplace overnight, we can control how we respond to them. So what we can do is practice self-care techniques such as mindfulness, exercising, spending time with supportive friends and family. Taking care of your physical and emotional well-being is essential for navigating through challenging times, not only just your workplace. And another thing that you can do is find at least one person at work that you gel with that can help to make the work shift go by faster, whether the 8 or the 9 hour what you're doing. Just find that one person that you can gel with that helps to make the work life a little bit better or worthwhile. Yeah, there's always one person. No, me not say nobody for look no friend, because remember, always have it in the back of your mind that you don't go to friend work to make friends, and you don't have friends at the workplace, your co-workers. But because you spend majority of your time at work, the lines might be blurred at some point, and you might start calling them your friends, but they aren't your friends, your co-workers. Especially if you don't do things outside of work. And I'm not talking a one drink, I'm talking about other things that will qualify them as a friend, right? So bear that in mind. Don't go calling your co-workers your besties and stuff like that. No, don't do that, because you just go set up yourself a problem. Because if there is ever a time where they might need to turn against you in order to get a promotion or something, best trust and believe they're going to do it. I've seen that shit many times. The most important point that you can ever get from this episode, and it is the last and most important point: if you are ever in a toxic work environment and it becomes unbearable, or even if it becomes unbearable, do not, and I repeat, do not be afraid to send in your 2 weeks. Or if you want to be petty Betty, as long as you plan not to put that workplace onto your resume, you can just resign with immediate effect, because no workplace is worth your mental health. And if you drop down and dead, and if you resign tomorrow, just know that your position will be advertised set speed. So with you keeping that in mind, no make no job stress you, no make no job make you have to ball no tears. And if it ever becomes too toxic, don't be afraid to send in your 2 weeks. You can always find another job, or you can always find another department, or you can even start your own business if it is feasible. Just remember, no job is worth your mental state being fucked up. To sum up everything that was said, surviving a toxic work environment, it requires resilience, boundary setting, self-care, and by recognizing the sign of a toxic work environment, establishing clear boundaries, and focusing on what you can control, and exploring other alternatives when necessary, you can navigate through the most challenging work environments. Thank you for tuning into today's episode. We hope you find these strategies helpful. Remember that you are not alone, and there are resources and support available to help you through difficult times at work. I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, please screenshot and share it with us over on Instagram, and don't forget to tag me at I am Kay Chevelle, and I would love to chat with you in the comments about today's episode. And before you go, be sure to subscribe with Darif and Gyal podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. If you are an Apple Podcast listener, be sure to give it a 5-star rating and review. Stay strong, take care of yourself, and until next time, walk good, Godspeed.